Good evening. My name is Amy Ju, and I want to welcome you to our first anti-bullying event of the fall 2023 semester. October is National Bullying Prevention Month, and we prepare a special program for you focusing on the state of bullying at CUNY. This week in particular is Freedom from Workplace Bullies Week, and it gives us a chance to break through the shame and silence surrounding bullying. Before we begin our formal program, let me just go over a few Zoom housekeeping announcements. We will be recording the presentation today and later posting it on our website. We will stop the recording when we get to the Q&A. We'll take all questions at the end of the presentation. So if you do have a question, feel free to drop it in the chat during the presentation or raise your Zoom hand at the time of Q&A. Please remain muted at all times unless you're called on to speak, and feel free to use the chat to share useful knowledge with one another or if you have a technical question. In 2021, our PSC adopted and approved our community norms and practices. These norms and practices are aspirational and should guide how we communicate with one another. So please review along with me as I read them out loud. Respect for everyone's worth is fundamental to a university, and particularly to CUNY, which was founded on principles of inclusion. We commit ourselves to nurture a work environment that honors the dignity of all, is respectful and free from discrimination, harassment, or bullying, and we therefore agree to respect each other's differences and to create a healthy, safe, and rewarding environment that nurtures, challenges, and supports the community. In order for our community to function in this way, it is useful for its individual members to make the following commitments. 1, I commit to conduct that is mutually respectful and not discriminatory, harassing, bullying, or threatening. 2, I take responsibility for my actions and my personal perspectives, recognizing that there may be disagreements with another's. 3, I will respect everyone's contributions and honor the roles and responsibilities of all members through my words and actions. 4, I will be mindful and reflect on how I might be using or misusing my power and privilege in my interactions. 5, I will intend to be inclusive and support others with the same respect and compassion that I want for myself. 6, I am willing to be an active ally, an upstander, by speaking, intervening, or acting on behalf of a person being attacked or bullied. 7, I will seek to understand others and assume best intentions in all interactions. 8, I will seek to understand other perspectives and avoid making assumptions. 9, I commit to listen actively and with compassion at the workplace and in all union meetings. So our speaker tonight is Clara Weingart. She's also a member of the PSC Anti-Bullying Committee, and she co-chairs our advocacy subcommittee. Clara Weingart is a professor of mathematics at Queensborough Community College, and she has written extensively on workplace bullying. She has lectured on this issue, appeared in anti-bullying panel discussions, presented on radio programs, and has an internet TV program on End Bullying Now on the Bold Brave TV network. Her goal is to work on eradicating workplace bullying once and for all. So take it away, Clara.
Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for coming. I hope that we're all going to learn about bullying. I just have to make one rejoinder that I just noticed in my bio, and that I did that program on End Bullying Now for about a year, less than a year, and I have not done it since. There have been some changes, but of course I would love to do this again and have speakers come in. People would come in and speak about bullying and how to resolve bullying. And that's what we're here for today. We're here to understand what bullying is about, how to recognize it, what to do about it when you see it. And so that brings us to the first slide, the outline and presentation goals. So what are our goals here? We want to know, what is workplace bullying? How do we recognize it? Why does it occur? What are the effects of bullying? We want to understand the bullying cycle. There's a cycle that exists when your supervisor or someone else starts to bully you. And what happens? What happens to the bully? What happens to the one who's being bullied? There is a cycle. We want to stop that cycle. What do you do when workplace bullying occurs? Something that we need to talk about. And what is the PSC doing about workplace bullying and how to get involved? And that has really gotten better. We're working with CUNY on this, and I think we'll make some more reference to what the PSC hopefully can do or will do with CUNY in the future. So let's start immediately. If there are any questions, please let me know. Let's first understand what is workplace bullying. It's repeated, unreasonable actions that are aimed at intimidating, humiliating, degrading, undermining an employee or group of employees. And it can create a risk to employee health and safety. You know, if you've been bullied, you understand what it means to be intimidated, humiliated, degraded, undermined. And if you've watched bullying, you've also understand what is going on when someone gets bullied. So, what happens? What does workplace bullying involve? It involves abuse or misuse of power. It creates feelings of defenselessness and injustice in the target, the one who's being bullied, and undermines an individual's right to dignity at work. So when I feel bullied, I feel defenseless. I feel like my right and my dignity is affected, and I need to do something about it. So let's talk about what bullying looks like. It could be quiet, people spreading misinformation, sharing information about something inappropriately, using nonverbal intimidation, making threats, lies about past statements, or moving through your goals. Maybe we provide too much or not enough work. Maybe withholding resources if we need resources to do something. Maybe we know that we did a great job and we don't get praised for it. Or it could be loud type of bullying, where your supervisor yells at you, publicly criticizes you, finds constant fault in you, and it doesn't have to be your supervisor. It could be a lot of people. Publicly humiliate you. They threaten, intimidate. They over-supervise. They have to know everything that's going on, every detail. They can put you down and demean you, and just a constant attention to shortcomings. No praise, no positive feedback whatsoever. So let's talk about examples of bullying at CUNY. Supervisor gives a college lab tech a lot of work to do with impossible deadlines. That's ridiculous. Or your HEO director shouts orders to the office personnel and demands and barks orders and demands things without any respect to a person's dignity. Or you have a chairperson who ignores a faculty member consistently in meetings. When I raise my hand at the meetings and I'm not acknowledged, and here particularly I'm talking about an adjunct faculty member. Or you have people on the campus who gossip about one particular HEO who is shy and withdrawn. Doesn't have to be a KEO. Or a KEO supervisor who assigns tasks that are beyond the person's skill level without prior training. I mean, how do you expect me to do this? Department chair excessively monitors the work of the college lab technician. Or a chairperson expects a faculty member to apply for promotion but does not provide access to information, consultation, nor resources on how to apply and perfect one's application. Or you have a situation between a senior faculty member and a junior faculty member where the senior faculty member constantly reminds the junior faculty of past errors. Or the college lab technician is ignored and isolated from other members in the department. And it doesn't have to be a college lab technician. It could be faculty, could be a secretary. It could be anyone, really, who is ignored and constantly isolated. Can we really identify with any of these situations? I brought them up because I've seen them, I've heard about them at CUNY, at my college, and hopefully we can work on these so that it gets better for all of us. The New York Attorney General defines cyberbullying as the use of email, websites. Now we were talking about technology, being bullied through technology, essentially. Email, websites, instant messaging, chat rooms, text messaging, digital cameras, and they're used to antagonize, intimidate, to belittle others, and to show power. So now we have it is extended all the way to the technology. I'll see if I can answer questions as I see it. Someone's asking, what if the bullying comes from a department that is not even your department, where they ignore emails and express that they refuse to speak with you because you're not a director? 100%. This is part of showing respect and showing dignity to others. And that's what we're looking for. Okay, we're ready for the next slide. So how do we recognize remote work and cyberbullying? Let's say we can put someone on the spot in a Zoom meeting and embarrass them in front of everyone. Or the supervisor changes the passwords of the department accounts so certain people in the department cannot access the account. Intimidation again, intimidating one's colleagues after work hours by phone or email. Have we had supervisors who write to you after hours at 10 o'clock at night? And they expect you to answer. And you feel badly if you don't answer because it's your supervisor. Sending offensive messages, insults, personal threats, intimidation between colleagues on the phone, video, or through emails. Withholding work-related information. That's just as bad as the supervisor who makes sure certain people can't access accounts. Spreading online rumors through social media. That can be devastating. Okay. So we have a bunch of polls here, but what happens is I don't think we can actually carry out these polls in today's Zoom, unfortunately. So these are questions for thought. Have you ever witnessed bullying at CUNY? I'll answer them for myself. My answer is yes. Let's think about it and come to terms with it. Have you ever been bullied or a target of a bully while at CUNY? Well, I try to employ the methods that I'm telling you about so that you can be firm, assertive, aware of everyone around you. So that's really important. Did you report it? Well, who do we report it to? Human resources? That's where we usually report things like this. What does human resources do about it? Nothing. So we need a process. That's what we're looking for. A process where you can report such incidents and do something about it. So we all have a role to play and how witnesses respond. We have the bully, who starts the whole thing and plays the active role. We have the followers of the bully. How often do we see a bully barking orders, and then there's the little mob that's following the bully? Some of them are open, they play an active role, some of them play a passive role, and they're passive bullies. And some of them don't even want to say if they're active or open. They're just supporters secretly. Oh, I favor my supervisor, whatever my supervisor does. Or maybe there's people who are disengaged. They just don't do anything. I don't even want to know what's happening. And then you have the resolvers, the upstanders. And that's what we're trying to be. We're trying to be upstanders so that we can say it as it comes. I've been bullied. I've noticed bullying happening to X, Y, and Z. Let's stop and resolve this conflict. We can openly support the target. We can secretly support the target. Maybe we're afraid to speak up. Maybe the supervisor will come after me if I speak up. And then there are the people who just do nothing. And so this is the role that we can play when bullying occurs around us. Yeah, I'm just noticing, I'm looking at the comments, if I should address something. So why do many targets remain silent? I have my supervisor's saying something to me. Well, maybe I don't want to say anything. I don't want to complain about things like this. I don't like what the supervisor did. Isolated me from the committee. I can't join the committee. Why? Well, I can't complain about it. Well, they'll think I'm just whining or making a mountain out of a molehill. I mean, so what if I'm not on the committee? Maybe if I complain about not being on the committee, there'll be retaliation from the supervisor, from the dean, from the vice president. They'll get back at me. Maybe I'll say, well, you allowed X to get on the committee, but I can't get on the committee. Maybe they'll get back at me. Maybe it's just me. I'm just not cut out for this. If I complain to the administration, I'd be betraying my supervisor and my colleagues. I can't complain. You can see, bullying puts us into a hole. Maybe this is how it always is. It's just a normal way of looking at things. Anyway, if I spoke up and said, why am I not on this committee? Who would believe me anyway? My supervisor decides on this. I don't even know who to talk to about this. And that's what we need. We need someone to talk to on our campuses when bullying occurs. So there's a big cost. And the targets, the ones who are experiencing the bullying, are paying a great cost. There's physical health. If I'm being bullied, I know I have to go on this committee, and I know X got on this committee. It could cause cardiovascular disease. I may have chest pain. Maybe I can't eat. Maybe I can't sleep. My chair is out to get me. I'll have headaches, problems, exhaustion. Maybe my immune system will stop working. Because if I'm not eating, I'm not sleeping, my immune system gets impaired. So those are physical health consequences. And then we just alluded to psychological consequences. I get depressed. My chair is not interested in me. My chair doesn't even want to promote me. I get anxious. I get post-traumatic stress disorder. Maybe some people even come to suicide, unfortunately. We need to stop this process. And then there's the psychosocial consequences, where I feel lonely and isolated. I feel like no one really cares about me at work. I don't trust people at work. And all of a sudden, I feel the whole world is that the whole world is just not to be trusted. And the world is just not just in fear. It's fearsome. And then there's the career consequences. I have a professional identity. Maybe I'll have a loss of professional identity. Maybe I'll be disengaged from my job. There'll be stigmatization, loss of reputation. I'll lose salary. And I'll have difficulties with getting back into the job workforce. So these are the effects of workplace bullying on the person who's being bullied, on the target. We need to stop this process. And it goes even beyond the targets. It affects individuals and their families. It affects financial and psychological effects with the families. It affects your institution. If I'm being bullied, I don't want to do any work. I don't want to take any risks. I have a loss of commitment to the institution. I don't care about diversity. It just paralyzes me completely. And as a result, there's a waste of taxpayer money that's trying to upgrade the institution. There is more physical and mental health care, and there's more social support services. Why do we need that? We need to stop bullying in its tracks. So the questions are, could you be a workplace bully? Who are the different types of bullies? And it doesn't have to be you. The same question can be reworded. Have you seen workplace bullying? What are the different types of bullies that you've seen? You have this, and I'll go through it in a summary. There's the stress bully. The stress bully is verbally abusive. Everything has to be done immediately. I have to get results right now. They never say they're a bully, but they say the target is very emotional. And they don't realize that they're a stress bully because everything has to be done yesterday. And they lose composure during the stress. So they're stressed themselves and they make others stressed. The next one is the political bully. And there are a lot of those at CUNY. They have emotional manipulation and power to compete and label others. They're dishonest. Even though they're socially adept, they know about the system. They're extremely likely to take credit for the work of others. And they generally manage up and abuse down. So in other words, they abuse people below them. The team feels a need to be with him or her or against her. It's just all crazy with the political bully. Any questions on that? Just take my phone off the hook. Sorry. Any questions about the political bully? There are a lot of those at CUNY. Then we have the old school bully. You know, how many times have we heard, what's the big deal about bullying? It's just part of the culture. This is the way it goes. So the old school bully doesn't really care about the situation, lacks empathy, only focus on what you're doing. Be happy you have a job. That's what counts. That's the old school bully. And I can think of one right now on my campus. It's just part of the culture. Then you have the organizational bully. And what is meant here is that we think about this. These slides are meant for you to think about and to try to improve. So you think about who's around you, who you're working for, who you report to, who reports to you, and the different processes that we have in dealing with others. So the organizational bully is very good in politics, in unionized workplaces, but wields a lot of clout and influence, and uses their clout and influence to threaten and mobilize group condemnation or ostracism. Look, I'm very good. I'm part of the union. I'm a big wheel in the union. I prevail in the politics of my school. Therefore, I have a lot of influence. And because of that, I can ostracize people. Because of that, I can use the email list that I am privy to publicly criticize. I always speak for the good of the group, but there's no dissent because everyone agrees with me. And it's important to be loyal to the organizational bully. If you're not loyal, then you're disloyal. Again, try to think of people whom you know who fit these descriptions. Then you have the privileged bully. The privileged bully says, look, I tell you in terms of faculty, I've published so much, I've written so many papers, I have the privilege and the clout to tell you what to do. They think that they've earned this privilege. They're indispensable to the organization. And as a result, they have unilateral control over the success or failure of others. Because I've published so much, I can control others. But that person is generally unapproachable. And my mindset, if I'm the privileged bully, I have high standards. But unfortunately, the high standards do not work with people. And then you have the peer bully, where bigotry is not based on protected class, characteristics, status, authority difference. It's either you're with them or against them. Either you create alliance against leaders and you follow what I say. You do as I do. And that's the peer bully. And then you have all these bullies getting together and they do group bullying. And so we all want to be part of a group. We all want to be affiliated with others. And what happens is the group bullying creates feelings of power when they promote affiliation. Those feelings of power are pleasing when they promote affiliation. But if they don't promote affiliation, they are not so pleasing. They just cause a lot of dissonance around you. And that is a problem. And then you have a supervisor who says to you, you better do what I say. So they use the practices to intimidate, to harass, to shame, to harangue, to motivate employees to quit. I mean, eventually it's just inevitable. You want to quit. It's not really, what do you think and what are your ideas about it and how do we go about it? This is not the road here. We're not interested in performance improvement and assistance in meeting those targets. It's do as I say or death by documentation. So it's not only if you recognize yourself in these bullying types, but if you've seen others in these bullying types, you can change and the organization can change. You can acknowledge and own it and say, yes, I've been a peer bully. I've used death by documentation. I can acknowledge it. But it's also everything else. I mean, really, if you've seen it in other people, that's another thing as well. Everyone should acknowledge and own it if they can. We can apologize. We can ask for help. We can ask for feedback. Or you deal with the inevitable consequences. So we ask now, why does bullying occur? So we see that we have certain requirements. Maybe we have increasing workload, insufficient staffing, working in isolation, unclear or shifting job responsibilities, changing the face of the workforce, where leaders don't respond effectively. Maybe the government's structure is changing. Academic freedom is changing. People are not getting tenured. And tenure creates unresolved decisions. There's conflicts. And when you have all these things happening, workplace bullying occurs. And sometimes you have other things. There's an increased bureaucracy from the president to the VPs to the deans. There's a pressure to adopt a more corporate model of operation where there's no exchange as to why and how we do things. There's an increased administrative burden or shifting job responsibilities. Well, today I'm going to look at why this happened. Tomorrow, you'll ask me to clean your car, okay? Something that I don't usually do. So maybe I'll have a lack of adequate job training. Maybe I'll have a lack of meaningful performance review or accountability. Or there'll be a lack of protections in policies or contract. The focus of academic culture is on the individual rather than on the organization. We need emphasis on individual achievements. Competition, hyper-specialization. We don't want competition. We want to work together. We don't want to have a blurred line between the personal and the professional. We know that conflict is normal. We need we need commitment to honesty and thorough assessment. We need a lead towards culture, beliefs, and expectations. And so we want to work together so that we don't have bullying. So what happens? The academic structure makes it difficult to decipher what's happening and what to do about it. There's a decentralized structure. There's faculty governments, which is not connected to the administration. There's separate administrative branches for academics and campus management, but the faculty and staff don't know about it. There's a lack of protections in the policies or the contract. There's ambiguous and changing expectations, and we don't get clear feedback on performance. Why didn't you like that person? What did the person do exactly that wasn't appropriate? And then there's confidential or secretive peer review. How am I going to get better if it's secretive? I need to work together with you so that I understand and know what I'm doing is not the correct way. So you have bullies who choose their targets. And what do? And they love being bullies. Some of them, by the way, are chairs, deans, VPs. They could even be your friend. So what happens is they say they're jealous of you because you're effective and capable. You know a lot. You know what to do. Or they see you're well-liked and accepted. You're trusting, approachable, and tolerant. So you'll be easy prey for confrontation and manipulation. They see you have integrity and high moral standards. These are people who threaten the bully's territory because there's no integrity for the bully and there are no moral standards for the bully. And then you are kind and capable of showing empathy to others. So you're vulnerable to the bully, especially if there's a lack of self-esteem and assertiveness. And it's important to be assertive and to say, this is the way it goes. Let's discuss it. Or maybe you have a high tolerance level for difficult people. So you know what? Bullies will look for people who put up no resistance to attacks. Because I know if you have a high tolerance level for difficult people, you'll accept the bully and you won't criticize the bully. So we tolerate workplace bullying. It's socially unacceptable to say anything. If we say something, do you think we'll really win, or are we going to make matters worse? If we react to the bully's demands, we're going to lose vision of what we want and need. And that will leave us fearful and afraid as opposed to being secure and empowered. So in other words, we just need to follow whatever the bully says, because otherwise, if we don't listen to the bully, we'll be afraid. So we don't want to think about what we want to think about. So we tolerate workplace bullying. Often, workplace bullies operate within the established rules and policies of their organization. And they use official communication chains to bully. And that's where cyberbullying comes in. So this is what happens. There's unethical communication that leads to an escalation of the conflict. There's a conflict. We take sides. And then there's unethical communication. So we shut the target out of workplace information loops. Oh, we don't want the target to be involved. Or we provide false information to the target or about the target. Oh, you don't have to come, you're not up to being part of this committee. Or maybe we'll isolate or ignore the target. Or we'll gossip and we'll spread rumors. Oh, the target can't really do this. They're not capable. Or they'll say leaking personal confidential information. The target really is not capable of doing it. So let's just leave them alone. Maybe the target is a bully. We don't want bullies there. or we just want to ridicule, belittle, or humiliate the target. And so when there's a conflict, we end up taking sides, and there's unethical communication, and it goes around in a circle. So the ally continuum for targets and bullies, there's the person who is apathetic, who doesn't want to have anything to do with it, no understanding of the issues. It doesn't affect me. I don't want to hear about it. As opposed to the advocate who's committed and proactively champions what's going on. Then there are the people who are just aware. Oh, I know the basic concepts of what's going on, but you know what? I don't want to extend myself on behalf of others, of saving others. But I know what's going on. I see that someone's being bullied over there. And then there's the active person who is well informed, sharing and seeking diversity when asked and prompted, but they don't say anything more. When you're asked, when you're prompted, okay, I'll tell you, listen, I really agree with what the bully is, not the bully, with what the target is saying. But I don't really want to tell you about it. I don't want to get involved because you know what? I'm afraid I'm not going to get promoted. So I don't want to say anything. So this is the ally continuum for targets and bullies. So we have the bullying cycle. And what happens? The bully is triggered. We're right in the middle, where the red is. The bully is triggered, senses someone has more of something. Power, kindness, intelligence. You know, I'm going to take advantage of that person. That person has a lot of power. So you know what? I'm going to take advantage. And so, because of that advantage, I'll get through to the president. So the bully starts this bullying cycle. After that, bully acts out of having power over that target. You know what? If it weren't for me, you wouldn't be where you are. That's what the bully says to the target. And the idea is for the bully wants the target to back down, to submit, to comply, to be afraid, to be embarrassed. And the target doesn't understand what's going on, that the bully wants to take over. So the target has confusion, tries to accommodate the bully, in fact, and wants peace. We all want peace and professionalism. So the target doesn't challenge the bully. And because of this, tries to please the bully. And it continues the cycle. And so what happens? The target is trying to appease this bully and to ignore the bully and to accommodate the bully. There's more tension for the target. And the target tries to adapt and cope. And it's a continuous cycle. And it keeps on going until someone says, stop. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? The bully feels weak and inadequate, and so preys on the weak and defenseless. And that's what's going on here. So we ask, what can we do to stop workplace bullying? Workplace bullying prevention starts with us. We're working clearly with CUNY to stop workplace bullying. We want to model and support ethical, respectful behavior every day. You want to treat people with dignity and respect. You want to communicate assertively. I think that if you do the following, get everyone involved, we'll have more opinions and better participation. We want to examine the situation, evaluate options, and make appropriate decisions. We want to participate in trainings like these that involve self-empowerment and self-resilience. We don't want to feel badly about ourselves. We don't want to sink in our self-pity. We want to bounce back and actively participate and show self-empowerment and work with others. We want to develop a policy and a culture that everybody treats everyone with dignity and respect. So let's consider the framework, okay, to stop workplace bullying. Okay, and there's 4 possibilities. First thing is we want to state the problem. So we want to acknowledge that bullying occurred. We want to acknowledge that my chair didn't allow me to speak at the meeting and in general doesn't allow me to speak up. I want to acknowledge it. I want to realize that the bullying is really not about me. It's not about the fact that the chair doesn't want me to speak at a communal gathering, but it's about the bully controlling me. So understand how the bullying affects me. And let's work with this. So state the problem. The next thing is to protect yourself. Document the bullying through a log. Incident, do the date, the time, location, describe the incident. How did it make me feel? Identify the disrespectful behavior. The chairperson left me out on such and such date. We're going to see now the form, the continuity. How many times did the chair leave me out? I'm an expert in this field. Why is the chair leaving me out? Describe the incident, take the date and the time and the location, say what happened and it made me feel defenseless. I know that I know what's going on. It's disrespectful. And the other thing is you need to protect your health. This is very important. You need to sleep. You need to eat properly. Because if you don't, you'll get sick the way we described before. So protect your health. Know that you will get through this. This is not something to say, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen. You will get through this. You need to protect yourself. That's really important. The third thing is you got to empower yourself. Increase your level of wellness. Eat properly, do exercise. Maybe you like to take vitamins. Maybe you like to go for walks in the country or walks outside where it's not country. So you take care of your physical health. Try to manage your stress levels. Take a time where you can just sit down and close your eyes and just think about what's going on. Manage your stress levels. Build up your self-esteem. I can do this. I will get through this. Increase your options. Well, if this doesn't work out, let me try another option. Assert yourself and say to yourself, I know what to do, and this is what you do. Here is a suggestion about what to do. Concentrate on your strengths, on the fact that you know what's going on, that you're aware of everything around you. So develop your strengths. That's very, very important. And the last one here is to take action. You get a support team. I mean, this is very difficult to take on. My chair has been bullying me from day one. I can't handle it by myself. I need a support team, a support group. The support group could be another friend. It could be someone in my family. It could be someone in my department. But it consists of someone who sincerely wants to help me and who's willing to give me advice. Could even be a therapist who specializes in conflict resolution. I need to feel comfortable with them. Let's examine the options. Let's see what's going on. Well, one option is I keep shut. And so my chair will take advantage of me. Another option is that I stand up to my chair. Maybe that's not so good either. Maybe another option is for me to get someone involved with me and to stand up for me with the chair around. But you want to examine options that you can work with. And as a result, you can make effective decisions. So how do you react when your bully speaks to you? There's different types of communication. And how do I confront the bully? Okay, so I think we missed one slide. Oh, maybe that is the beginning, the slide. Okay, so we have the slide. We have passive, aggressive, and assertive behavior. And you really want to emphasize the assertive column as much as possible. So your chair says to you, I'm sorry, you're not going to be involved. This is not for you. Even though you're an expert, even though you've done work in this area, it's not for you. I'm choosing who I think is best. Well, you can keep quiet. You don't have to say what you feel, need, or want. You can say, well, I disagree with her or him. That's possible. Or I can express my feelings to my chair and say, you know, what you said is unreasonable or stupid. Or you can just dismiss, ignore, or insult the needs and wants and opinions of others. Or you can just express your needs and wants directly. I think that if you chose me for the project, I have the following background. And as a result, I've done X, Y, Z. And like this, you allow others to hold other views without dismissing or insulting them. Then you have the nonverbal body language, where you can make yourself look small. You can hunch your shoulders, avoid eye contact, speak softly. That means you're not really doing anything with the target. Well, excuse me, with the bully. This is all about reacting to the bully. Or you can say, look, I'm really great. I mean, look, you need to follow whatever I do. And you could stare at your bully. And your voice can be loud and shout. Or you can be relaxed. And you can be casual. Eye contact frequent, but you're not glaring. So the goal is to be as assertive as possible. What we're trying to do is to define what assertiveness is. When you're passive, you have a fear of rejection. You're helpless, you're frustrated, you're angry. And when you're aggressive, you want to be powerful all the time and always victorious. And then you have guilt over the way you did it if you hurt somebody. But you need to feel positive and work towards these goals. It's very hard. And you feel positive about yourself and the way you treat others so that your self-esteem can rise. And so you have goals. You want you and others to keep self-respect and to express yourself without having to win all the time. You're not aggressive. You don't have to always win and be in control, but you also don't have to avoid conflict and let others control you. You want to find a medium road where others keep your self-respect and you express yourself without having to win all the time. So what manifests assertive behavior? We now know we want to be assertive. I like when I'm chosen to do the following. I don't like when I'm the head of the committee. I want to be the head of the committee because I have a lot of experience in this area. If you decide to use this as a goal, I will follow through. Maybe if you want, I will follow through. If you will, I won't do that. Or if you won't, I won't do that. But the idea is to be assertive and sure of yourself and be calm about your actions. Taking responsibility. So how do you confront the bully? You want to be honest. Just be yourself. You want to be agreeable. Agree where you can to demonstrate that you want to be cooperative with them to resolve the problem. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't need to argue. It's about working together amicably with somebody. Be respectful. Treat others and yourself with respect and be direct. Be direct of what you want, what you're interested. What do you think the bully should do in this case? What should I do as a result? Speak simply. Okay? And instead of telling the bully, you do this and I do that, let's discuss it. I think maybe, what do you think? The bully decided to use X as the head of the committee. Maybe I could get more involved. So in other words, it's a work relationship is what you're asking about. So how do you approach the bully? You set a boundary to let the bully know their tactics are not appropriate and you won't tolerate them. In this way, you feel empowered and more confident because you set the boundary. If necessary, you could write it out and then say it, or you can just write it out, whatever way suits you. The third thing is that you can assert yourself with the bully. Most of the time, the bully can't be reasoned with, and the bully will only respond to certain tactics. Denial, the bully will say, you're making a big thing out of nothing. A counterattack, the bully may lie, deceive, hypocrisy, blame, avoid responsibility, or the bully will play victim. Oh, I'm so offended by what you say. Well, let's work with that. Why? Let's work with the tactics. Let's see what we can do. Why do you have to lie and deceive others? Let's deal with the truth and let's take on responsibility. Make a daily practice to review in your mind the encounters you have every day. What did the other person do or say? How did you respond? How might you have responded in a more assertive way? Respect yourself and respect others. And that's really important. So let's talk about effective decision making. You have a big decision to make. You need to buy some equipment for your department. Identify the options. The options are, if I have the equipment, this is what we can do. If I don't have the equipment, this is what happens. Evaluate the options and choose the option and communicate with others. You're identifying possible solutions, but you're communicating and working on assertiveness so that others will understand what's going on. This helps you to build your self-esteem, and this empowers yourself. It increases your level of wellness. So here are some options. The one option is to ignore the person, or you want to avoid the person. Let's say you want your chair to to get certain equipment. And the chair doesn't want to do it. Too much money. We can't afford it. You can ignore. You can avoid. You just don't want to get along with the chair. You can talk to the chair. What's the problem? Well, what can we do to solve the problem? Maybe we can get a grant. Maybe we can talk to others and see how they have solved the problem. We can talk to the person and we can say, just lay off me. I'm going to do it anyway. I'll solve it. Or if they don't want to work with you, you can threaten to report them or talk to their supervisor. But the idea is that you want to work, be assertive with the people around you. So you're going to choose an option and you're going to work with it. So the examples of boundary setting sentences. I can't do that, but I can help you find someone who can. I appreciate from the chair, but in the future, I prefer not to do this, or I prefer to do this. Keep it in the positive. I can't take on additional responsibilities right now. I'm not comfortable discussing this topic with you. I'm uncomfortable with what you just said, what you just did. I thank you for your concern, but I can handle it. I can't attend the meeting, but I appreciate the invitation. I'm not giving you permission to do this to me, but this is what I'm planning on doing. I can't do it, but I'm open to trying other possibilities. I don't feel safe with what's going on, so I think I'm going to leave the meeting. I don't need to be spoken to in that manner. I am allowed to change my mind. Thanks, but I'm not interested. I wish I could, but I can't. No, thank you, or just a no. These are all boundary setting sentences. So let's look at summary of actions for the key players who are affected by bullying incidents. Bullying is abuse. Consequences are very grave. We need to support and help those who are experiencing it. And as a result, we are whistleblowers. And that protects us from reprisal by university policy and state law. If you feel bullied, stop it. Stop the process. Object early. The effectiveness of objecting will diminish over time. Get help. Get feedback. Get advice. Seek supervisory assistance. And frame your concerns by identifying specific behaviors, language, or action, or the effects of the language, so that you try to diminish this bullying. Because the bully wants to only work with someone who's non-resistant. If you resist, if you're assertive, that's not in the bully's category. And then we have the bystanders and the allies. The bystanders have a very important process. You can name or acknowledge unfair or unkind treatment. I just noticed that Y didn't treat X properly. Interrupt the bullying behavior. I don't like the way that Y is working with X. Publicly support those that are affected. Privately support those that are affected. Privately confront those involved. And use body language to provide feedback in the moment. And then report to someone who can do something about it. So when you have a complaint, someone tells you about something that that occurred. Listen. Don't talk as much. Listen to the story. Don't debate. Don't say, I'm not sure you really felt that. The person felt it. Don't express doubt. Don't lay blame. Affirm the feelings. Once we listen and affirm feelings, we'll get the facts. The salient of facts will get witnesses and evidence. You want to stay neutral. And if you can't, you get help. Use a reasonable person standard. That means you want to listen to different sides. Acknowledge that maybe if you're the supervisor and there's a complaint, acknowledge that maybe you missed something. And I want to do better. I want to work with you. Let's improve our communication. Okay, we have a lot of acknowledgments, a lot of research went into this. And I think our next topic is, what is the PSC doing about workplace bullying? And I think Amy will take over from here.
Thank you, Clara.
You're welcome.
Okay. So what is the PSC doing about workplace bullying? On a most fundamental level, we know that the power of our union is built upon the solidarity of our members. And member-to-member bullying breaks down the solidarity amongst our members, and it reduces the power of our union. So each member of our union has the duty to refrain from bullying or harassing any other member of our union. And ideally, each member of our union shall take further steps to prevent, detect, and eliminate workplace bullying in our workplace, including reporting such bullying and harassment and engaging as an upstander to intervene and end such bullying and harassment they are aware of. So the responsibility falls on you and it falls on me. It's individual, it's a collective, it's a community that we're trying to build here. Our union has also, every year since December of 2020, it has reauthorized our anti-bullying committee. The charge of our committee is to advise and participate in the anti-bullying campaign, as well as to consider, recommend, and formulate policies for accountability and transparency related to workplace bullying and harassment. And furthermore, the anti-bullying campaign affirms workers' rights to be treated with dignity and respect in a safe and healthy work environment. So the PSC is also very supportive of our anti-bullying committee's initiatives. This is just a slide that just enumerates some of the things that we've been active in. For example, we've created an entire anti-bullying campaign. We developed those community norms and practices that were read out in the beginning. We also developed a resolution to honor one of our brothers who was very important to us on this collective work of combating workplace bullying. And therefore, every year we do celebrate this Freedom from Workplace Bullies Week. We're also very active and engaged in raising awareness and membership education on workplace bullying prevention. We hold monthly events. We're willing to come out to your campuses to do local presentations, to talk with smaller groups and chapters. We also provide trainings for our advisors. The grievance department also does training for the grievance counselors and our campus support teams. We also do research. We interview people. People reach out to us if they have questions. We also publish reports and findings, and as necessary, present them to CUNY through labor management meetings. We also develop our own materials, whether it be printed literature or content for website and social media. And we're also fighting for contractual protections to promote safe workplaces and prohibiting other workplace abuses. The other thing that the PSC is doing is that we've developed a one-page handout. It's double-sided. It very clearly defines what our anti-bullying campaign is, what the problem is at CUNY, what is the solution. Regards to workplace bullying, what do you do and what do you don't do? And we also have the joint statement from the PSC and CUNY that was issued in October of 2020. And that statement reaffirms their commitment to safe and healthy, respectful, dignified workplaces. So where are we going with this is the future. We are right now in the contract season. We are negotiating with CUNY. If you've noticed, one of the contract demands, number C4, has to do with work-life balance and professional respect. In the bargaining agenda, it states that the PSC and CUNY will work jointly to combat harassment and bullying in the physical and virtual workspace, cyberbullying, and a university-wide labor management committee on professional respect shall be established. This demand has not specifically come up yet on the table with a proposal, so we're still talking to members as how to flush this out when we go to the table. So how are we going to win this demand? It's going to take collective action by all of us. We all need to become healthy workplace advocates. It's very important that we tell and share our stories. You can also attend a bargaining session, and you can also engage and participate in the contract campaign through your CAT teams on each campus, or even through your local chapters. If you're interested in telling your story, in 3 minutes, for example, if you're interested in testifying in front of the Board of Trustees, or you would like to share your story with CUNY at bargaining, this is a framework that was taken and shared by Fran Clark, who's our communications director in the PSC. So the framework has 5 major sections to it. Basically, you start out with an introduction. Who are you? Next, you move into legitimization, which covers why your testimony is well informed. You state your years of experience, what role you have at the university, what title, and any other relevant experience you have pertaining to this particular topic. Then you identify what the problem is, going from the very general to something more specific. And it's always good to speak about how this impacts our students. And as you talk about the problem, you can also make it personal to either talk about you or your college, your department, or your office. And the fourth thing is to move into solutions as to what we want to happen. And 5, we want some type of an action statement as far as what can CUNY do about this and what should they do about it. As I mentioned before, we also have some campuses that have developed some local support teams on bullying prevention. And their role is to really raise awareness and education about workplace bullying prevention. It's to also promote understanding through conversation and dialogue. It's to spread the word about related events, to share resources with the campus community, and to provide support to affected members. And we really want these support teams to model advocacy for their community on the campus. So if you're interested in being part of a support team or forming one, I encourage you to reach out to me or Clara, the rest of the members of the anti-bullying committee. Also reach out to your chapter chair to see what is possible. And together we can sit down and talk about and move in that direction to start a campus support team on your campus. What we've also done from the PSC side is we've presented a report to CUNY as to our report of findings on workplace bullying and the committee's assessment of the problems and our recommendations of solutions. And through the summer, CUNY had worked on revamping revising their workplace violence prevention training. And if you've taken the training for this year, you will notice that there is a new section specifically devoted to anti-bullying. And in that anti-bullying section, it does cover what constitutes workplace bullying. It gives examples, talks about cyberbullying and the impacts of bullying, and what can we do as employees. And I'm going to stop the screen share so we can take some Q&A and have some discussion. Thank you.